That deck is a lie. I tell the story all the time about strength, courage, power. Your will finds a target, an object of desire. You do the work, you build the plan, you gather the troops. It's time to fight. You're nervous. It means a lot to you. You want it. It's like important. It's like, I want this. Oh, I need this job. I want that girl. I need this thing. I want people to like this recipe that I made and worked on. Like, you care. So you're scared. So what your body does, your mind does, and your soul does when they get together is they hug your heart and they're like, courage happens. What is courage? Acting while afraid, right? So it gives you this little boost to be able to still fight even though you're scared, and that's called courage. Now, what happens when you're in the midst of the fight and you're winning? You don't need the courage anymore because you lose the fear. Courage doesn't exist without fear. It's a necessity that's created because of the fear. Fear gives birth to courage. Fear disappears, courage is no longer necessary. It's like it never existed. However, the energy that was raised during the process of your body giving you the courage is still there. And so you get to transform that into power. And so you walk out of that situation in a state of knowing, confidence, and you're not afraid any longer. And you're also not courageous any longer. You are correct in yourself. There's like a rightness that comes from that, and that rightness is strength, which is why when you look at the strength card, you don't see, that's you during the fight. You see a very pleasant, calm woman petting a lion. There it is. That is the truth that unlocks the power to transform self. And now what happens when you do that? What happens when you do that is that you can transform fear. Because what are we talking about with power? Power is taking courage and using the opportunity of it going away to replace it with something else. That's kind of the idea. We're going to expand on that in a minute. And what happens is that there's now this empty space, and that empty space can be filled with a new direct will that is now based on the fear being gone, and so it's a new will. The old one isn't there, and now the fear isn't there either, and so the fear is gone, and the new will is directed towards something much more true. So how do we do that? Everything I just said sounds really great, but what are the actual steps? Like, give me the action. I always talk about, like, you know, I like to talk on the channel and have conversations about this stuff, but you know, I want to give you like a do. Because that's where shit gets done, and that's what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to. We have a goal, right? We have a target. We have a vector. We have an object of our desire, and we want our will to be done. And so, if we're having trouble because we're afraid, and we live in a state of constant fear, there's kind of an opportunity there, because what that means is that we have a device to give us the first component we need to make that transformation. We need courage, but courage doesn't happen without fear. So if you're afraid, you're halfway there. How awesome. And so all we have to do now is say, okay, well, let's talk for a minute. What fear? What am I afraid of? The anticipation of harm. Anticipation is living in the future, which doesn't exist. Right? At least not down here. And most of the time what fear is, and anticipation is a product of personality. Right? It's a product of your mind. Whose? Yours. You don't want your mind. You want God's heart in your mind. You want your higher self's love into your mind. And so what this is about is having the power to empty your cup and let it be filled with divine mind. Because when you do that, there is no fear. There never was. It was a product of your mind. It was your ego telling you should be afraid so that it can decide how to direct you. And we have the power to take agency back from our ego, to take agency back from that middle self that allows us to confuse our higher mind trying to talk to us with it. And we can destroy that ego. Because what is that ego? It is our personality, which we need to communicate, die daily. So what I'm saying is that you can't destroy it, but what you can do is recognize what it actually is. And then you get to use it. This is not who I am. This is a character I'm playing to talk to people. And we do that with everyone we talk to. We all pretend, right? I'm an empty slate that was just filled with information that I identified with, but that's not who I am. Who am I? I don't know. But I know this. I love dark coffee. That's who I am. Right now I'm being me. I love that. What are you afraid of? You were born at the beginning of time and you exist at the end of time, watching yourself, waiting for yourself to catch up to the truth. Why can we use these tools to see the future and it work? Because we already lived it. And so we know how it ends. So what is there to be afraid of? Fear is not an actual thing. It's a shape. And it can be molded in the exact technique that I talked about. And what happens when that happens is that you are able to kind of peer through that veil a little bit. You can peek around it a little bit and get a tiny sliver of that truth, and just enough sometimes. Sometimes that's enough. Bang! It's immediate, it's instant. And the moment that thunderclap hits your heart, all that junk disappears, just like the courage. It's like it never existed. It never existed. Why? Because it's no longer necessary. Why do people use drugs? To the point that they do bad things to their bodies to make money to go get drugs. Because they're filling that with the wrong thing. Now, when they realize the truth, that necessity disappears immediately. So, it's powerful. I recommend highly that you watch that a couple times. Pause it every once in a while and sit on the words. Go back. Right now, I just want you to take it in emotionally, and later on, I want you to watch it again and look at it mentally. And it will ring. It's powerful and it works. And why do I say that? That's because it's empirical. I've seen it happen. I've done this with people who were in serious pain. I've mentioned here on the channel before that a lot of my friends are hookers and prostitutes. And why is that? Because drug addicts, violent homeless people, they just need their cup filled with the right thing. And it's not love. they're not in a position to receive that in the right way. They will receive love in the mind when you allow them to receive divine mind in their hearts. The knowing. When they feel that knowing, they're in a position to receive love truly. Some people are so hungry they can only see God in the form of bread. And their bread is crack. So feed them. They won't be hungry. The hunger disappears. It works.